So I'm going to show you how to make an ornament so that we can sell them at the fine arts night. All you need is a really tiny piece of clay and the materials that you already have on your desk from using clay. And first thing you're going to do is just roll out a small slab. Same way we made our mugs, you need to make sure that you're flipping it between every roll so that it doesn't get stuck on the table. When you're making your ornaments, you want to make sure that the thickness is about the same that we needed, or maybe even a little thinner than what we use for our mugs, because this is our ultimate goal. We want to make something relatively thin, but that could still hang from a tree or from a window so somebody can buy it. Once you have your slab rolled out, and if something sticks to the table, it's not a big deal, you will use something to cut it out. So what I'm going to be using is these little baby food jars, because I'm going to be putting words on mine anyway. So I can use the lid, and I can actually get 2 ornaments from just this one slab using my needle tool to cut it out. Lift it up. I can fit at least one more on here. And then removing this extra clay. Now once I get to this point, I'm almost finished, honestly. You need to use your hands and fingers or tools and some water to really smooth out the edges. This is a really important part of the ornament because these things are so small and we're only going to be charging probably $3 or $5 depending on how they turn out. We want to make sure that the craftsmanship on these is really nice. So all of the edges need to be smooth. It needs to be perfectly rounded and cared for on the front and the back, making sure there's no cracks. All the edges are nice and round before we add the words. So for these ornaments too, we don't want to make them too busy and we don't really want to carve ourselves. That's why we're going to leave it up to the noodles to make a really nice finish. I can smooth out both of them. I'll work on that one a little later. But also what I printed up for you is basically like a list of words that you guys can choose from. There's sort of inspiring words for the season that I think people will be more likely to buy when these are used. So take one for your seat and you can pick out whatever you want. For mine, I picked the word hope just because it's really generic and I want this to sell. So all I'm doing is pressing my letters very gently into my clay, but I also want to make sure that the letters all the way are pushed in, because if not, it won't really make an indent and your letters won't really show through. When they burn out, this is what they'll look like, just like the fossilized imprint, just like how your mugs were working. And once you've got your letters in there, the last step would be to either add a little bit of decoration to the front, or you can just leave it just like this. For me personally, I like to add like a little bit of something. Like for this Go Rebels one, I created some lines. This one has some little leaves on the side and a little mistletoe or something. Last thing I wanted to show you was how to create the hole, and this is really important. You're going to take the tool that looks like this with the round edge, and you're going to press it into your clay on the table and twist. By doing this, you're kind of creating a hole just from removing the clay, but you need to flip it over as well and do the same thing. I usually do this about 3 times for every ornament that I create. That way when this shrinks in the kiln, I know the hole will be just perfect size to add a ribbon so that it may hang. So once you've created one of these, you may place it in the cardboard box in the back of the room so that it will dry and get fired. We will also glaze these once they come out of the kiln.